Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a significant and often painful chapter in American history, the Indian Removal Act of 1830. This act had reshaped the landscape of the United States, and it also had profound and lasting effects on Native American communities. So, let's explore what led to this legislation, its implementation, and its consequences. The Indian Removal Act was signed into law by President Andrew Jackson on May 28, 1830. This legislation aimed to relocate Native American tribes living in the southeastern United States to lands west of the Mississippi River. The rationale behind this act was rooted in the belief that white settlers needed more land for agriculture and settlement, and that Native Americans were hindering this progress. Jackson and his supporters believed that Native Americans could not assimilate into American society, and that their removal was in their best interest. But this perspective was deeply flawed and rooted in racism and a misunderstanding of Native cultures. By the 1830s, the United States was expanding rapidly. The discovery of gold in Georgia and the demand for cotton fueled a land rush that put immense pressure on Native American territories. The government viewed the removal of tribes as a solution to what they termed the Indian problem. The act was not just about land, it was about power and control. The U.S. government sought to exert its dominance over Native nations, disregarding treaties that had been established to protect their rights. Andrew Jackson, the seventh President of the United States, was a key proponent of the Indian Removal Act. He believed that the expansion of American territory was essential for the nation's growth and prosperity. Jackson's own experiences as a frontier soldier shaped his views on Native Americans, leading him to advocate for their removal. Jackson famously stated, "It will become a law of the land that the Indian must be removed." His administration pushed for the act despite significant opposition from various quarters, including some members of Congress and the public. Many Native American tribes resisted the Indian Removal Act. The Cherokee Nation in particular fought back through legal means. They argued that they were a sovereign nation and that the U.S. government had no right to forcibly remove them from their lands. In 1831, the Cherokee Nation took their case to the Supreme Court in Cherokee Nation versus Georgia. Unfortunately, the court ruled that it did not have jurisdiction, effectively leaving the Cherokee without legal recourse. However, in a subsequent case, Worcester versus Georgia in 1832, the Supreme Court did recognize the sovereignty of the Cherokee Nation. But Jackson famously ignored this ruling, stating, "John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it." Despite the legal battles, the U.S. government moved forward with the removal process. The most infamous result of the Indian Removal Act was the Trail of Tears, which refers to the forced relocation of the Cherokee and other tribes between 1830 and 1850. Approximately 60,000 Native Americans were forcibly removed from their ancestral lands. The journey was brutal. Thousands died from exposure, disease, and starvation. The Trail of Tears is a haunting reminder of the suffering endured by Native peoples during this dark period in American history. The journey. The Cherokee were divided into four main groups and forced to travel by foot, wagon, and steamboat to their new lands in the west. The journey covered over 800 miles and took several months to complete, with the Cherokee encountering harsh weather, disease, and starvation along the way. Estimates suggest that approximately 4,000 out of the 15,000 Cherokee died during the journey due to the harsh conditions and lack of adequate provisions. The Trail of Tears had a devastating impact on the Cherokee Nation, both in terms of lives lost and the disruption to their way of life. The relocation led to the breakup of families and communities, and the Cherokee were forced to adapt to a new environment and climate in Indian Territory. The Trail of Tears is a symbol of the broader injustices faced by Native Americans during the era of westward expansion, as other tribes such as the Muskogee, Seminole, Chickasaw, and Choctaw also experienced forced removals. The Indian Removal Act and the subsequent Trail of Tears had devastating effects on Native American communities. Entire cultures were disrupted, and many tribes lost their ancestral lands forever. The act set a precedent for future policies that would continue to marginalize Native Americans. However, it's important to recognize the resilience of Native American communities. Despite the trauma of removal, many tribes have worked tirelessly to preserve their cultures, languages, and traditions. Today, they continue to advocate for their rights and sovereignty. The Indian Removal Act is a stark reminder of the complexities and contradictions in American history. It challenges us to confront the injustices faced by Native Americans and to understand the ongoing impact of these historical events. By learning about the past, we can better appreciate the resilience of Native communities today and work towards a more equitable future. Thank you for joining us in this discussion. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.